There is no build that has the destructive capabilities that this Arc Titan build possesses. Thanks to our mods and careful choice of fragments, we are able to infinitely spam our pulse grenades better than ever before. And not a lot of people know this, but pulse grenades actually got buffed with lightfall and had their PvE damage increased by a whopping 20%. Pulse grenades not only are lethal against low level enemies, but they also absolutely annihilate stronger enemies as well. This build will serve you in all kinds of endgame PvE content, dungeons, raids, and even nightfalls. From this build we generate ionic traces which help us regain our abilities back even faster, orbs of power from multiple sources that also feed the ability spam loop and regain our super energy very quickly. We also have health regeneration and we have a great burst DPS super in the build as well. Dim link for the build will be in my Discord, link for which will be in the comments or description below. So at the center of the build is the exotic chess piece Heart of Inmost Light, whose demise was greatly exaggerated. This chess piece is still nuts in Lightfall and it still provides significant damage and regeneration bonuses to all your abilities. We still get 35% increased damage and 800% increased grenade regeneration with ×2 stacks, which completely juices up our already powerful pulse grenades. The beauty of Arc Titan for Heart of Inmost Light over every other subclass is the aspect knockout, which when we don't even have a charged melee up, our regular melee is infused with arc energy, and it actually counts as a charged melee, so we can keep on refreshing Heart of Inmost Light's buff with a regular punch. No other build allows for Heart of Inmost Light uptime like Arc Titan. With our other aspect, Touch of Thunder, our pulse grenades now generate ionic traces, which are these little bits of arc energy which track towards you and give you ability energy. The aspect also makes our pulse grenades become stronger over time, which pairs extremely well with our fragments. The reason why I love pulse grenades so much is that you can chuck them on stronger enemies and still generate ionic traces and get grenade energy back to chuck a second or even third grenade. It doesn't require a kill specifically to get grenade energy back, so it's still viable in harder content. Let's go over the rest of our Arc 3.0 build. So for your class ability, you want to use Thruster because this has the shortest cooldown of all the class abilities, meaning you can keep Heart of Inmost Light's buff up more often. For your melee, you want to use Thunderclap as it has a shorter cooldown than the other melees, and you can use it a little bit more safely from distance in comparison to the others. It can also do significant damage when charged fully against stronger enemies. We're obviously using pulse grenades, and we've gone over our two aspects for the build. In terms of fragments, Spark of Magnitude is key and extends our pulse grenade duration, meaning thanks to Touch of Thunder we do more damage over time and we generate more ionic traces. Spark of Recharge increases ability regeneration even further when wounded. Spark of Resistance gives a 25% damage resistant PvE when surrounded by enemies. And finally, Spark of Shock lets our pulse grenades jolt enemies and create these huge chains of lightning capable of clearing out entire waves of enemies. For your build, it's very important that you generate tons of orbs of power. We use firepower on our gloves so our grenade kills generate orbs of power, and we use heavy-handed as well, so our melee, which can be triggered by the regular melee thanks to knockout, can also generate orbs of power. We then add in one grenade kickstart mod so that our armor charges are dumped into even more grenade energy. Our chest piece has one charged up mod and then the relevant resistance mods. Our boots have 2 stacks of innovation to get grenade energy back when we get an orb of power and 1 stack of recuperation. 3 stacks of innovation has massive diminishing returns and the build lacks healing, so recuperation gives it much more survivability. For our cloak we run 2 bomber mods and 1 distribution to maximize the amount of grenade energy we get back when we use our thruster ability. And finally, on my helmet I run 2 stacks of ashes to asset so we get back even more super energy, and 1 harmonic siphon which pairs perfectly well with my Volt Shot Ikelos SMG to generate even more orbs of power. For the build distribution, you want 100 discipline as your #1 priority to minimize that pulse grenade cooldown time. In close second is 100 resilience so that you get 30% damage resist and you lower the cooldown cooldown of your thruster ability even more. Then you want recovery, as there's not that many ways to heal with this build. Strength is lowered down because knockout makes our uncharged melees useful as well. And finally then go for intellect and mobility in that order. So there you have it guys, my updated Arc Titan pulse grenade build that is now even better in my eyes in Lightfall thanks to the buff that pulse grenades received. Infinite abilities, tons of orbs of power, and it's an absolute monster of a build in all types of PvE content. If you liked what I talked about today, remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more Destiny builds, both PvE and PvP. I'm Mr. On It, and that's it for today. Peace out, guys.